Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Livelong podcast, where we discuss how to live a longer and better life. My name is Erin Hunter, and I am the senior editor here at Livelong Media. So today we're talking about menopause with the founder and CEO of Metapause, like Meta, Miss Lauren Weiniger. But instead of just talking about biology and breaking down that part, we're going to go into how AI can make hormones better, health better, and really rewrite how aging looks for women. And this is going to be a fascinating conversation. But right before we get into it, really quick, I just wanted to mention our team is working really hard on the Women's Health Summit, which is coming in April to San Francisco. So we've recruited the best experts in longevity, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Stacy Sims, Jane Fonda, and they're joining us exclusively. So use my name, Erin, at checkout because you get a discount on your ticket to the event, which I'm sure is just going to help many people and help you connect with new folks. So, with that being said, I am pleased to welcome Lauren to the show. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing amazing on this morning. It is sunny. Life is good.
I agree. Life is great, grateful every day.
That's just it. That's you mentioned before the conversation here that trying to your New Year's resolution this year is to incorporate more love and gratitude. Can you just show a little bit what that looks like on a daily basis and why you're choosing that as your resolution this year?
Yeah, it's funny, a little personal, but an open book. It was the 31st. I'm journaling about the intention setting of the new year. Um, and I was doing it with a group of like a mastermind that we're in, and it came up from someone else in the group, like that that to bring more love into like their relationship and their work. And I had a kind of epiphany that I know it sounds terrible, but I've forgotten in some ways about love. Like I think gratitude, I think getting things done, I think efficiency, I think, biology, all of these things. But that word has a slightly different meaning, and it's both personally, but also in every aspect of our lives. Like to be grateful for things is feels a little more receptive, but to love is more, it's you're putting it out into the world. And it's a reminder and a mental shift to do that every day. So what it looks like in a day-to-day basis is really just it's a shift in the gratitude practice, which I'd say I give myself a B minus on consistency for last year. My intention for this year is to give myself an A plus this year and see what that looks like, but really use that word and that the emotion of it into every aspect of what I'm doing, because I don't know, it makes everything better, doesn't it?
I I think so. And I think as this is rich coming from me. Obviously, I'm younger, and for women who are going through menopause, I know I can't relate directly. I'm not there, but I will say from talking with other experts and what I've heard, as we get older, it's a little bit harder to reflect and be grateful when our bodies are changing so much and when sometimes it feels like the cards are biologically stacked against us. And so I just love your perspective on that. And even ushering in sort of the conversation about why your intention here is probably relevant to all the women who are going through menopause right now or who have passed it or who are like me and haven't gone there yet, but we know that life is going to continue to bring changes.
It's all about choice in the end of the day, right? And that's really my what drove me to do this, because I stumbled into this, right? Like I also have not gone through menopause yet. I would like to not, at least not in the way that women have had to throughout history, right? I always say, like, look, nature is sexist. Healthcare doesn't have to be. We're not going to cancel nature here, but women and men do age differently. And it's not fair. And women do tend to fall off an age cliff a lot faster. Our hormones are very powerful, and they control many, many aspects of our lives through from puberty onwards. And when they fall off, it wreaks havoc on every aspect of our lives. But what if it didn't have to? So what if we could change that paradigm and actually have a choice through these aspects of our life? This impacts things like fertility. This impacts things like, how long you live, how brittle your bones are, you know, the and it's not just the, 7 to 14 years of perimenopause, which just is a chaotic time that for all of history, for the most part, most women didn't even understand what was happening. And now we are talking about that, which is good. But, when you see that the fact that, 80% of Alzheimer's patients are women, we know it's linked to estrogen. The fact that, you know, many autoimmune disorders it's mostly women. We know these things are linked to hormones too. If we can, one, shed light on the why, and then two, enable access to the solutions in a personalized way, what is possible for women and humanity? So that's kind of thing, but it's about choice, right? So I can choose to put love into everything that I do, but I hated the concept of I would have no choice in at some point within my 40s and or 50s, potentially 30s, but past that, I would suddenly lose control of my body. Like I was interviewing I interviewed like 1,000 women when I was first looking into this. And I was honestly shocked. I didn't know anything about menopause or perimenopause. And this is from somebody who, has been building in health for a decade. And the phrase I kept hearing over and over again was, I feel like a stranger in my own body. Um, and these poor women felt so helpless. And these are women that are not helpless little frail things, many of them, right? Like they're executives, they're mothers, they're people that have, they're millennials, they're people that have, and Gen X women and boomers, right? Like they've taken their life in their hands and made their own rules throughout their lives. And all of a sudden, biology is just going to say, haha, no, psych. I didn't like that at all. So
You didn't like nature's joke.
no, I was like, wait a minute, like that's why yeah, I mean, listen, like millennials are the first generation to like know this is coming before it happens. And we're a very loud generation. We're the first social media natives, and we've been creating our own rules the whole time. And we're grateful, like for the women and ahead of us that are like ringing this alarm bell and bringing this awareness into the market. But there's a lot we can do here. So it's what I want is to go from awareness and it's not about awareness to acceptance. It's awareness to, okay, what next? Like, what should we be doing? And it's not about menopause. Menopause is a symptom of aging, really. I don't know, it's not a symptom, but it's just a word we've slapped on it when it comes to women, and it technically means a year since your last period, right? But it's a lot more. This is longevity for women, and I don't mean about living longer just, or even necessarily at all. I mean living, being ourselves for as long as possible. Like I said, I just want to be hot, healthy, and happy, and then die. Like,
Hot, healthy, happy.
yeah.
I love that. Oh my God. That's your new slogan. Hot, healthy, happy.
I'm actually starting a podcast called that, so you heard it here first.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want trademark money then. Thank you.
Yes, I'll get any advice from
No.
you.
So then in all of this conversation and in the desire to go from not that you said not acceptance, but it sounds more like action. You're going from awareness to action. What, why AI? And I feel like to add a little bit more depth to that, I know AI is the quote unquote new thing. Everyone's using AI for research. They're using it to get vast amount of information. But when it comes to the menopause landscape, and more so as you alluded to, healthy aging in women, why is AI going to be the game changer that we haven't had in years past, even though we've had some knowledge about hormone therapy existing and these things that can help us age better and with greater health span?
Yeah, so AI is the enabler. It's one ingredient of why this is possible just today. Like what I'm building would not have been possible 5 years ago for a few reasons. It's one, we're going to have access to, we already do, and are going to have access to more and more data inside of our bodies. At the core, this is a data problem, right? Um, and you've heard the stats probably. Women were banned from clinical trials since until 1993. We
Yep,
don't
yep.
female lab rats and studies, da da da. But listen, biology is complicated. Female biology is orders of magnitude more complicated. That's one reason why we were right, like don't use rats in certain studies, etc. Um, but we have, between the wearables that are out and coming out, the access to diagnostics, some of these are just coming down the pike and will be available like through the FDA over the next year or two, right? And I've worked with a number of these really cool Theranos, but it works type companies, right? Where we're all going to have these in our home, in our arms. Great. But our current healthcare system is so slow to adopt things. And what good is all that data if you can't make sense of it, right? What is AI really great at is making sense of and pattern matching across very large data sets, which this is. Um, and the other piece that's important here is it's not so it's the information, the data, so that we can enable personalization. It's the what are the solutions, which we have solutions. And to your point, hormones, but not all hormones are created equally, right? We have supplements definitely are not all created equally, right? There's a lot of snake oil out there, but supplementation is critical and game changing and necessary for all humans, but particularly with women, especially as their hormones start to naturally decline. There's things that we can take and do that help our body, either help our bodies naturally elevate them and keep them stable, or just actually replace what we've lost. And then we have things like peptides and other regenerative medicine and stem cells and a whole lot of things. And some of these things have been studied for 20 years and they're not newfangled. They're just not easily patented, which is why they're not in our standard medical care. And some of these things are super cool and new because the AI is also enabling such rapid iterations and inventions and innovation of new technologies. So all these things together, when you apply AI, that helps us actually personalize it. There are kind of three problems we're solving. One is trust. There's so much BS out there, so much snake oil. Let's take all that away and have a personalized, a curated ecosystem, trust only, no pay to play, no snake oil. Great. Two is personalization, right? Because this might be a great product. That's might be a great peptide for me, but it might be horrible for you because if we don't fix your, say, thyroid first and we are throwing this peptide on top, we might throw your body into complete and total whack, right?
Oh, so you're basing some of the, I guess, prescriptions on first, what is the data in our body telling us? We need to regulate that first before we can even
Mhm.
try a second intervention, which would be like the
Yes.
peptides or something.
Yes, that and think about this. Like, you're on TikTok, right? You've got a million wellness influencers saying these are the top five pep supplements. Let's like keep it simple, right? Top five supplements for perimenopause. Take this. Okay, great. Oh, right. I'm gonna go and order, click their link tree and get that ashwagandha. But ashwagandha is a great adaptogen, but for certain women with certain kind of thyroid challenge, it's actually going to exacerbate that. And so they shouldn't. So who's going to tell you that now? Well, you can find out yourself if you're really into doing a lot of research. Most
Mm.
people don't have the time or even capacity. Most doctors don't either. And we also don't necessarily know, like you might have this genetic mutation versus that. That's going to mean the difference of this estrogen patch saving your life and making you feel like superwoman or blowing up and gaining 80 pounds in a year. This is a true story that happens all the time. We can tailor it to you and your unique body and say, with precision, this is what you should take. And listen, you're not going to take 100 pills a day or stab yourself 100 times a day either. What should you prioritize and what's going to move the needle? And then we start to see, hey, what's really working? And here's the thing, we know a lot today, and the system is cool today, but we're still just scratching the surface. We're going to learn between what's actually working for you and what's actually working for me. And so I say it's AI meets community driven intelligence.
AI meets community-driven intelligence. And by community, is this based off of clinical studies? Like when you're creating all of this, when you're collecting all of this knowledge, where are you getting the resources from? Because I know in this space, and a lot of women are like, man, I hear this and I hear this idea of personalization. It sounds fine and dandy, but is the actual thing itself, is the actual peptide, is the actual supplements, how do I know this is actually validated and even just clean to use on anyone, right?
Yeah. So there's a few components of that. So when I was starting this out, um, I mentioned I interviewed like 1,000 women, and I'm hearing these heartbreaking stories. On occasion, though, I would meet someone who was like, I figured it out. I went to 9 different specialists and I was suffering for years and all this, but I am better. I'm superwoman. I'm so good. I'm like, amazing. Like, what'd you do? Like, so they'd be like, I finally found a doctor or a specialist that helped me. Awesome. Who is that? So I start collecting these very few and far between experts, specialists, etc., that actually had figured out for the most part how to help women. Um, and those are the experts advisor that make up our expert council. Um, those are the individuals who um, through a mix of, our AI is trained in a mix of like open source but proprietary data sources, um, their protocols, their things, and then there's a lot of studies as well. But so basically, they would identify the better supplements, peptides, etc., that they've been using for years with their clients. And their clients are paying, thousands and thousands of dollars, and they have wait lists mile long, right? These are like the celebrity billionaire doctors that most people, frankly, can't afford. So we start with those. But again, but what do I mean by community driven intelligence? Our world is going to keep evolving. And so we have a whole mechanism. We have our community councils where we're inviting our women, our members are also feeding into this model and saying what this worked, this didn't. They're trying these things out. New product, great. We do challenges to like actually review them in a very transparent way. And nothing is allowed into this ecosystem until it's been tested by our experts and our community.
So I want to know what, in your experience with using this AI model, with working with women, what are some of the things that you are seeing are actually moving the needle? Whether they're products, whether they're practices, whether they're mindset shifts. Like, are there a few things that you're actually like, yes, I can say from observation, like looking at them, I believe this absolutely supports women's health as they age.
Absolutely. There's a lot, right? And that's kind of why the personalization piece is important. But look, some of the things are free, right? Honestly, meditation and mindfulness, like, listen, it's important our whole lives, but it's critical as for women in particular as we get older. So your cortisol, so when you're stressed out, your cortisol goes out of whack, and other reasons, right? Your progesterone starts to go generally first, and your progesterone and cortisol need to be in alignment, as is your estrogen. All this stuff is like about ratios. Your cortisol, it eats your progesterone. I mean, they both like basically are made from the same raw material. So if your cortisol is spiking, you're super stressful, it's going to take away that raw ingredient from your progesterone. That's going to make you wake up at 3 a.m. every night, which is a big complaint for women. When your sleep's out of whack, it throws everything. So that's kind of one. Two, yeah, I mean, certain supplements are game changing and critical. Magnesium is honestly a really huge one. There's a lot that ADHD tends to rear up a lot more for women like in peri to post menopause. So yeah, that's a big thing. The cognitive stuff, by the way, that's what scared me the most when I was just diving into this. The memory loss, the it's not just
Mhm.
mood swings, it's your brain stops working the same way. And for women that are, you know, we're smart, it's part of our identity. What if that gets taken away? So there's certain supplements that help our brain function the way it always has. Taurine's a really good one. Saffron for some, I don't love that one. And then honestly, peptides are really cool. Like they're awesome. I'm obsessed. I'm not trying to like push them on everyone, but a little bit. Um, there's certain things to be wary of, but honestly, on the whole, the side effects and potential negative outcomes from peptides as a class, if you compare to the vast majority of pharma, even like the safest pharma, is minuscule. And again, the only reason it's not part of like general practice is because they're biologics, like they're naturally occurring compounds in our body, which so they're hard slash impossible to patent. So who's paying for that large scale US clinical trial? Pharma's not doing it if they can't patent it. So that's why a lot of these things they've been used for 20 years, like out of Russia and by like the billionaire celebrity doctors. But these are things that are helping your body do what it used to do better, right? Like,
Why? Would you mind just breaking that down just a
yeah,
skosh? Like, what do peptides, if I get older, are they gonna reduce my risk of heart disease? Are they gonna reduce the cognitive decline? Are there
they can.
studies that support that?
Yes, yes. But like I said, there's not, for most, we don't have large scale US clinical trials because they are crazy expensive. And the only organizations paying for those are pharmaceutical companies. And they're not going to do that unless they can patent a product, right?
Mhm.
So you have things like, BPC 157. It's, again, it's a naturally occurring peptide that we make ourselves in our gut. We make a little bit of it ourselves. It's the healing thing. So it's been used for decades by athletes in particular, as well as, celebrities and wealthy people. The these stories that I've seen some of these firsthand. Like a friend had like a torn rotator cuff. They was going to have surgery. Didn't really want. I'm like, you should try this. It's healed. It helps your body heal itself. It's crazy. There is a small chance if a certain type of cancer that it can help that grow. So there is a bit of be careful and monitor on that, but it's a tiny, tiny percentage of the market. And for the vast majority of people, it helps. It's basically saying, hey, cells, heal that. So like CGC sermorelin, it's a growth hormone. It's something we have a lot of as a kid, right? That's why we fall, we bounce, it's fine. We get up, like that skin knee is totally fixed. And as we get older, we fall and it's less easy. And that what it's the same thing. It's hey, our bodies used to have a lot of this thing and it was cool. It helped us be buoyant and able to heal ourselves. I want my body to be able to do that again. And so a lot of these are things that you're not supposed to or need to take forever. You literally take it in a
Mm.
cycle because then you don't have to anymore because your body's doing it itself again. We're training our bodies to do what they did. We're literally helping. It is not crazy talk that it is possible for people to age in reverse. And you see this with some of these bigger, like influencers. Anissa Buckley, who's on our team and advisor, she's 60. When you look at photos of her from 10 years ago, she looks a lot older. She started this journey when she was 50 or about to be. She climbs Mount Kilimanjaro on the regular and helps other women over 55 do the same. She couldn't have done that then. It's all because of peptide therapy and hormones, right? Like so hormones also are so not all hormones are created equally, bioidentical only. That's a whole other can of worms. That's not where I specialize. So we refer to our trusted partners for that. But for women, at a certain point, pretty much all women that, that's a gross general statement, but many women benefit greatly from hormones, particularly by the way, like testosterone's a huge one, which you don't think of as for women, right? We think of testosterone just for men. It's actually the most estrogen is our dominant one, but it's the most prevalent in our bodies, still technically. So when you speak to women that are on testosterone, most of them are like they feel like superwomen again, right? Testosterone when it's low, your libido goes like vaginal atrophy is a term that figure out from the words. Um, Motivation, this feeling of just the world is gray. So you talk to so many women who say like for years that they almost didn't realize it because it happened slowly. They just didn't care anymore. They kind of just left their jobs or they just didn't love their husbands or the idea of sex anymore. And then they got on
Mm.
testosterone and they're like raring to go, like I'm back, babe. So it's really
So,
cool to see that.
so to like bring this all to earth and to like an actionable step, how can women even think about deciding wow, like there's okay, so there's the idea of peptides. Maybe I'll look it up. Maybe I should do testosterone, but so there's all of these what ifs. What is the one first step a woman should think about before even taking any action and choosing, but just thinking about how do I start to even figure out what would work for me?
Step one, and you'll need to do this with a doctor and or expert and or our platform, right? That's literally why we're building it. Is testing, right? Where are we today? We can just throw things at it, but we're going to be guessing. So step one, ideally, this is not required in our platform. You could upload your labs and or we can order various tests, but it's highly recommended for a reason, right? All the top doctors and functional medicine doctors will make you go get blood work and or um, I'm a big fan of the Dutch test. It's a home test that is a urine test that you take over a few days that you get a sense of where your hormones are because your hormones don't, it's not like they're level. They change over quite a
Oh,
lot. So
wait,
you
that
want
was
to
the
get a
first time I've ever heard of a multi-day test. This is actually the first
yeah.
time I've ever heard about not just doing it in one fell swoop, but
If
seeing
you
it on
really
a
want to get a sense of where your hormones are, um, a blood test is going to just pinpoint it at that particular point in time, which is not that useful. Blood tests are very, very, very useful for many things, um, but not for progesterone in particular and estrogen. So the Dutch test is the one you take it on a specific day of your cycle. I can't remember which one, but it's on a specific day of your cycle over 3 days at like morning, evening, afternoon with very, very specific instructions to isolate and standardize to the best that we possibly can with today's technology. And this is going to keep getting better. There's new tests coming out all the time. So exactly. So step one, where are we at? What are we dealing with? Where are you deficient, right? Because that's a big thing at the very beginning. If part of your issue is just you could just be super deficient in vitamin D. Like, I can tell you how many people like, oh, that was the main issue, and actually you didn't need to be on hormones quite yet, for instance. For me, like
it's timing
yeah,
too.
timing, it's so many things. There's things that you should do at the second part of your cycle versus the first. Like for me, so okay, so for many women, the first thing to kind of start going down a little bit is progesterone. So it's like that very early pre-peri. Like that's where I'm at right now. So for me, like my levels are fine. My progesterone's a teeny bit low, but I was getting insane anxiety at second part of the month and like waking up at 3 a.m. and all of these things. Well, you know what was my game changer actually? Just taking DIM. It's a compound found in broccoli. So you can eat a bunch of broccoli, which I also highly recommend for women. I didn't know how good for us broccoli was, but like
Mm.
star vegetable, star. No, really, I'm dead serious. It's a compound in broccoli, but you take this, you can get it at Whole Foods or through our store, and it helps your body detoxify estrogen. So listen, estrogen's good. It gives us energy, it makes us women, etc. Too much of it stagnating is very bad. Breast cancer, anxiety, all these things. It's like a river, right? Love water, stagnant water, ick, running water, fantastic. We want it to flow. Our bodies are about flowing. So it helps your body specifically like detoxify that estrogen. It is a game changer. I'm like a totally different person, like especially like that the week before period where I was like a crazy person for like the last like a year and a half before. I'm totally normal. It's great.
Wow. So this is what great nuggets of information you've
Mhm.
shared from the Dutch test, which I've never heard of. So people can ask their doctor about that, or they can talk to an expert about that.
Yep.
Broccoli, specifically broccoli for aging. I love broccoli. Amazing. We've learned just about hormones and testing and seeing where you're at, and more so seeing what you need. Like, do you need more motivation? Is that the end goal here? Do you need more better sleep? It's like figuring out these nuggets. And it all starts with just getting a clearer picture. And as you put it, a cleaner river running through
Mm,
your body. And that's incredible. And I think just to sort of even further cement all your knowledge and all the stuff we've learned about, the future of aging and menopause and AI, I want to know, what are you most excited to see in 2026 when it comes to menopause care? What are we finding? What are we learning about how to live longer and age better?
I mean, listen, we're about to launch this platform that's been my baby. We've been nurturing for over a year, right? So in 2 weeks, actually, the first one will be live. We're for the first time going to have an actual platform that we will have a place to collect all this data on all these learnings. So women, everyone who's listening here can literally just go. I mean, you can sign up at the Menopause, at menopause.ai or the menopause.com. And ELSA, our AI, stands for the Endocrine Longevity System Advisor, will literally guide you through all of this so that you don't have to learn all of it on your own, but she will teach you as she goes. And she will order the tests that you need if you need them. She will recommend or suggest the supplements and or peptides and or hormones that are best for you. And she will help you connect with the best doctors or specialists or others that can help you on this journey and do it all in a very seamless way. But what's important is then tracking what's working and what's not working and improving it over time. So it's not a static thing. We are ever evolving, but you'll have that choice, that agency over your own health journey for the first time. And that will just continue. And so what I'm excited about is then, wow, like what are we going to learn? I have no idea, right? Like it's it's like who knows what patterns this AI is going to be able to surface once we finally have access and insight into this very large data set. Like I think about I can't eat dairy and I love vegan cheese. There are these companies that are using AI to create vegan cheese that's so good, even Michelin star chefs are like all about it because the AI can find these flavor profiles that humans just never would have connected. We can do that with cheese. Like, just think about the possibility for women's health and biology.
If that's such a nice way to wrap up. If we can use AI to change cheese and make it like healthy, dairy-free, delicious, imagine what we could do for health. I love it. Last thing, in 10 seconds, I would love to know, what is one thing you do for longevity on a daily basis?
Um, Meditate. It's so
Meditate.
important. Yeah, meditate and magnesium, honestly, magnesium and meditate.
And
The
eat
end.
cheese.
Yeah, I don't eat cheese.
No, no,
And
vegan cheese.
yeah, and vegan.
Vegan.
Um, and peptides, but I don't do the same thing every day. So
Wow. Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, sharing all your wisdom, and we've learned just so much. It's the future's exciting. That's the most important thing. Look, like the future, it's it's AI is pushing, it's pushing in a new generation of choice, as you said it. And I feel like that's a really eloquent way to put it. So, thank you.
Thank you. This was fun.